My name is Rob Jelly, and a couple of weeks ago I received an email from a previous uploader telling me that their book was finally being printed and that he'd made some revisions to it before it was. Author Jag Singh from Thurrock is such a motivating force. If you've not experienced Jag before, prepare yourself to feel energised and possibly even ready to wrestle a bear. Unbreakable, Wrong Place, Wrong Time is the story of Jag's life as a child growing up in the 1970s in East London, being the only Asian family on the street. It is an incredibly honest account of life back then and at times unsettling. But it hasn't stopped Jag becoming a beacon of hope for the present day and the future too.
The book is about survival, about how to get through all these issues, and it's tough, and there's a lot of people out there who will be able to relate to what I'm talking about right now, and it's tough to get through to the other side, but the book is a beacon of hope to tell everyone out there that, there is a way out, especially today, Rob, because in those days in school, it was like, there was no anti-bullying posters or nothing in the 70s, I just wish there was one. Now there are so many out there, and so many support groups that people can reach out to. So the message of the book is that, there is a way out, but it shows the gruesome roads I took to get where I am today.
Came out 4 years ago, but you've revisited it. You've gone back to it and revised parts of the book. Can I ask why?
Well, the thing is, Rob, I'm a perfectionist. I'm a bit like Bruce Lee, because Bruce Lee was never happy with anything he did. One of the great martial artists on the planet. People hated making films of him, but he was a perfectionist. And I know there's a time where you've got to say to yourself, right, it's done. And let it go, and it's done. Unfortunately, with me, that wasn't the case. It was, well, no, I forgot to write about that. No, I need to add this. And writing the book, you got to remember, Rob, what I'm doing is I'm going to my time machine and going back in time and reliving those times. And the good point about doing that was that I always get to come back. That was the good point. So I had to go back and get my full emotions of how I felt and add it into the book. And originally I got the ebook out. So now I had a big goal of getting that paperback in my hand. And as you said, 4 years ago, we were talking about it, and having it in my hand now, it just means the world, because I've put a bit more emotion into it, a few things that I was hiding away. And I thought, no, I don't really want to talk about this. But I went back and I thought, no, if this means that someone can read this and relate to it and say, well, he went through that as well. And then say, well, maybe I can go out to the other side and I can make it through and reach out for help, So, yes, I've added those bits into it. And I feel satisfied now. I feel happy that part one has been completed, because 22 years ago, Rob, I started writing a list of all the incidents that happened to me, including racism, bullying and mental health issues. And the list just got longer and longer. And it was a kind of therapy session for myself as well. And it's made me feel good bringing it all out. That's why I'm doing 3 parts, Rob. Part 1's done already now, Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Part 2, Against the Odds, I've nearly done it, nearly completed. That should be coming out in December. And then obviously the last part. So it's just too many things happened, and that list just got longer and longer and longer. I didn't want to kind of crush it into one book. So, and also, as I said, I went back, I put some more information in the first one, second one's nearly done, and then the third one's going to be kapow.
I mean, you've already answered a question I had, which was the fact that it's called Unbreakable Book 1, about having follow-ups to it and such. So just out of interest, where does the book come up to? At what point in time does that book finish? How old are you at the end of Book 1, as it were?
And that's a great question, Rob. There's so much that happened between the ages of 8 and 11. That is what all 3 books are about. That age group.
Wow.
8 to 11, that is how much happened. And it's a lot. It's a big list. It's a big list, Rob, but and I'm sure, as I said, people will be able to relate to different encounters in the book and say, wait a minute, I'm going through that as well right now.
When it is something this sensitive and this personal, were there times when going back and revisiting those things got too much?
Yes, 100%, Rob. The thing is, Rob, that many people go through trauma, bad times, and they have childhood issues, or even during the adulthood they have issues as well. And the thing is, many people don't talk about it. Many people hide it away, and they kind of put it in that error or that time, they put it away in the back of their head and they forget about it, and sometimes that's not a good thing to do. It's nice to reach out and speak about those times and kind of like get it off the chest. And there was times when I was writing, Rob, and I just had to stop.
Yeah.
Because I was writing such a tough situation, I just had to stop. And my remedy used to be, Rob, I used to grab any member of my family and just hug them. That was it. And that will bring me back into reality that I made it through. I'm not on the playground getting kicked about. I'm not in the playground.
Thanks for editing yourself there. I can appreciate you were about to say something that Ofcom would have had a problem about, but I completely and everyone else heard that as well. You saw what Jag was trying to say there.
It's feelings, Rob. They all come out, and there was to answer the question, Rob, there was times when I was like, I just had to stop, and sometimes it will be for days. It'll be for days, but my big message, as you know, Rob, and I've always come on your show, is to say to people that we're all going to feel down sometimes. We're all going to feel like, do you know what? I don't want to carry on that. I just don't want to do it no more. It could be anything, a craft or something you're creating, going to the gym. It could be anything, but it's only over when you give up. It's only over when you give up, and if you don't give up and you keep chipping away at it, which is what I've done with the book over 22 years. I've been chipping away at it, and making it quality and making my feelings come out. You just got to keep going on. And those days when I didn't want to write no more, it's like I had a break. Just let's have a break, Jack. Walk away from it. And to answer, and also, Robert, I've got my book here in front of me. Just like to read this little paragraph I've got at the start of the book, and it's just a dedication. It says, "If it isn't written, it will ultimately be forgotten. People will never know that such events took place, even though the story was worth remembering forever." That's a small dedication I put at the start of the book, and that means that, I had to tell my story so that people can read it and think that's actually happened, and this shouldn't happen again, ever.
It's about reflecting back on the past, and whatever has happened has happened.
I can also just say, I'm not sure who it was, but someone wise said that if we don't know our history, we're bound to repeat it.
Its most recognised original source comes from philosopher George Santayana, who wrote in The Life of Reason that those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. It has been misattributed to many other people as well, but I think it stands strong as a quote, as a saying, as a sort of ethos.
BBC Upload.
BBC Upload.
It's a really valuable platform, and you can gain such a lot from it.
The best in new comedy, poetry and spoken word.
From one person with incredible stories to my guest who equally has some unbelievable things to share as well. Jag Singh had a challenging childhood, and I think that's putting it politely. Growing up in East London in the 70s has left marks on his character that have made him the man he is today. And despite not learning how to read or write, he has his first book published. Unbreakable, Wrong Place, Wrong Time is available now as a paperback or ebook if you prefer. And when Jag and I spoke recently, I wanted to ask if he ever questioned whether the amount of hurt in his memories would be too much for readers.
Me and my brother never thought we'd make it to teenagers. That's how it was. We didn't think about, getting married, having children. It was just, no, we're not going to get through this, man, because we've got the skinheads smashing our windows. We've got the bullies at the school. We've got the racist teachers. Even walking down the street, we're getting abused for it. I said, we're not going to make it through this, So those feelings, and when I was writing them, I had to make sure that I got them through to the full impact of how I felt during that time. And that's why, Rob, I've done things like, working for the NSPCC, going to schools and speaking to children about bullying, because seeing their faces when you say to these children that, you're going to be okay. Yeah. As long as you come forward and tell us what's going on, I just say, when the kids need to come forward, Rob, I just say to them two things. I said, one, it's never going to happen again. Two, you're not going to get in trouble. And to see the little smile on their face with that, getting that feeling across. And when I was writing the book, I had that child in my mind. I had to put the full feeling of what I went through at that time and make sure that it came across in the book.
Were there any things you learned about writing from personal experience for a book that you perhaps didn't think about when you started?
mistakes and failures are actually helpful. They're helpful. They help you out because two things happen when you make a mistake or you fail. You can either pack your bags up and think, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I've had enough of this. Or you can say to yourself, no, do you know what, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna keep trying. And Rob, to tell you the truth, when I first wrote my first draft of the book 22 years ago, man, it was crap. It was gibberish, man. It was. I sent it to people and they said, what the hell are you going on about? I didn't have a clue about paragraphs, verbs, nouns. I didn't know absolutely nothing. But like I say to everyone, if you've got to learn. Okay, first you decide what craft you want to go in, then you learn. And mistakes, Rob, I don't know how many times I've actually visualised throwing my laptop out of the window. I'll be lying to you if I could give you a figure, man. It's been too many times. There's been times when I've argued with a laptop, or I've written a sentence that's taken me 4 hours to write this whole paragraph. Next I look at it and I go, what the hell have you written there? This doesn't make sense. And then something amazing happened, Rob. I'm through a network, I met a guy called James Minter. Now this guy, he's a professional, James Minter Publications, and he has wholeheartedly supported me all along the way. And when I sent him the draft, he sent it back again. Like I said, you said, what the hell is this? You need to go through it again. And they sent it back again. We're talking about playing tennis. It's not a tennis sport, it's the book, on a court going left and right about 100 times. But there were mistakes, there were plenty of mistakes. The first original mistake I remember is when I'd done 9 months of writing and didn't save it on a stick or nothing, and the laptop died on me. Now what do you do now? I look at it as God testing me and say, yeah, what are you going to do now? You're going to give up? I'll get me right, Rob. I was sulking, I was angry, I was upset, but then, deep breathe, right, start from the top.
What I love so much about this, Jag, and I love about your honesty, is that there will be someone who is thinking about trying to make a film, write a book, start a podcast, or whatever else it is, and saying, I have no idea how to start. But hearing you say you didn't know how to read and write when you first began to try to capture this story and get it down for the record, and yet it took you however long it took you, you have a book. You are an author. End of. That's it. The end of this process is that you have a book in the world, and soon a second and eventually a third as well to come with it. And there's nothing but yourself, no bigger barrier than yourself stopping you from writing that book, having that film, that podcast, whatever it is as well. Is there one tip when it comes to writing your story that perhaps you know now that you wish you could just give yourself a quick trip back in time and let yourself know?
Well, Rob, there's a couple actually. There's a few actually. Very quickly, I'll go for them. The first one will be to enjoy the process. Enjoy the journey. Like the first draft I've done, people tell me it was crap, and I was like in tatters. I was a broken man. But what I should have said to myself was, if I got back in time, is that, Jag, it's a process. It's going to take time. It's okay. Listen, Rome was built in a day, and if you want it to be like Rome, you're going to have to just work at it slowly, The second thing I'd like to say, Rob, is that what are you doing? Not only just enjoy the process, but please stop and have fun. Please stop sometimes and just enjoy life and watch your best Netflix series and have a little break and spend time with the family and spend time with yourself, and be kind to yourself. Okay, you made a mistake and you forgot to you blew out the gym today, and all right, okay, be kind to yourself, Out of 7 days, if we have 4 good days, that's good. It's okay. We'll work on the other 3. We'll work our way through it. But yeah, have fun, enjoy life, because the clock is ticking. And it's not just about creating your book or your body. It's also about stopping sometimes, having fun with your family and your friends, reaching out to those friends that you've spoken to for a long time. And I was in a cage. In 10 years, I reckon I was in a cage. Get me right. One thing I never ever did was, when my children wanted to speak to me, my wife, I always gave them undivided attention, because my book, forget that, the laptop's going away. I'm talking to my family now, yeah? So that's another advice I'd give, Rob, that, while you're being a creative and creating stuff, don't forget those people around you that, they want to have a chat sometimes and find a way to have fun, because for 10 years I did that. And now, Rob, I've reduced my 8 hours writing a day on my rest days from work to 2 hours. Life is too short, man. You've got to enjoy yourself as well.
Oh, thank you so much for letting me know about the revised version. Remind us what the book is called and where we can find it, Jag.
Okay, the book's called Unbreakable, Wrong Place, Wrong Time, and can be found on Amazon.
You can buy Jag's paper book now online, and I'm sure that if you popped into your local bookshop and asked them to get a copy of Unbreakable by Jag Singh, they can help you out as well. And if you want, you can follow Jag for more inspiration on X at JagSing_ICAN.